Welcome to Pursue Wellness. This show is by chiropractors and for chiropractors, helping you with practical science for better patient results, physiology and labs, rehab and exercise, supplements and nutrition, unfounded trends, no opinions, just science. Let's get started.
Hey there, I am Dr. Callerina Woodard, and on today's podcast, we're going to be talking about unfounded trends. Those things that you see on social media heavily marketed to both you and your patients. I want to set the foundation for trends. How do we clinically evaluate if something is useful, if something is helpful, or if it's just being very well marketed? Because I see it come and I see it go. New trends, patients spending money on things versus focusing on the foundations. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the research and let's talk about what we're seeing in marketing. So not every trend is bad, but not every trend deserves as much hype as it typically gets. Like I mentioned, marketing, they're really good at their job, especially on social media, that place that we go just to tune out at the end of the day. That's where most of the marketing happens. So let's talk about how these things are researched, how they're vetted, and then what the marketing looks like. So typically, trends catch on before the science catches up. Social media rewards the fast, emotional, simple messaging. So how well can I tell my story? How well can I give you my before and after results? These personal testimonies, things like that influencers who are doing an amazing job at what they're supposed to do influence you to buy something or to look at something. Influencers are able to reach a much broader audience before really research catches on to things. I have seen some of the wildest health promises on social media, on whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok is particularly bad about this. So marketing can take something into, well, this is a promising, it has some support behind it, into this is a proven thing, and I'm going to mark it up 10 times price-wise and make it a new trendy health thing that you can go buy somewhere, purchase today, click the link, use my discount code. And this is especially powerful because a lot of our patients, a lot of us, a lot of consumers are looking for shortcuts. I don't completely understand this. Maybe I do, but I do see it all the time. We want some kind of shortcut to the basic fundamentals of health because we're promised something quick, easy, something that's going to make a huge difference. We see somebody that we look up to, it making a difference in their lives. So then, of course, it's got to work. So I'm going to take it so that it works for me, but not take into context that maybe I have some subtle, nuanced differences from this person, and maybe I should be focusing on something else. That's something I could talk about all day, the actual physiological differences from one person to the next and how certain health outcomes can impact somebody more than the next person. But if you get anything from this, just keep in mind, marketing makes you think that you really need something, and that's what it's doing to our patients. So what does research really look like? Typically, you have a theory, and then you have early observations of that theory. Marketing likes to step in and take the studies because research isn't fun to look at. So what marketing does, what the marketers do is they go in and they take that research and they say, of these outcomes, what are the one-liners that we can push out to the public? So yes, it's researched. Yes, it's clinically studied, but is it clinically relevant? Was it only like a 1 to 2% change that someone got whenever they could be doing something else or putting their focus towards something else that could be better? So these studies do happen. I'm not saying these trends are all just bogus. Studies do happen. But keep in mind, marketing is really, really good at their job. So they can take one positive outcome or one small population that might not be your population or your patient population and blow that out of proportion to being something that is proven, will work, has to be done, and then boom, it's all of a sudden in your patient's house, in their pantry, in your house, in your pantry, and not really doing much for you. For supplements, I've talked about this in the supplement episode that we did. Supplements do have some regulation, but not until they hit the market. So whenever we're looking at how to vet a health claim, what exactly is being claimed is the number one thing. Was this actually studied on humans? Was this studied on people like me, an athlete, a mom, a female, or was it only studied on one small population? Also, what dosage was being used, and is it something that I'm able to do? Like, am I going to get the same benefit if I hop into the sauna once a week versus what this study is showing people did every single day? Was it compared to a placebo? This is really big in research. Oftentimes, what we're marketed or what we're sold or what our doctors are giving us isn't directly compared to a placebo. It's compared to another version of that product. So what is the science being compared to? Who funded the study? Not saying that it's always bad. And I'm not saying that it's always bad if it is an industry funded product. But a lot of times if I see something that is the research is funded by someone in the industry, I'm going to take a closer look because it's much easier to toss out studies that did not show what you wanted your product to show and then keep all the good stuff. So maybe you're not getting a full picture. Not always the case, but if it's something that's going to be marketed towards treating a disease, let's say like Alzheimer's, dementia, PCOS, diabetes, these are things that the FDA does take pretty seriously and they will look at more seriously, but you should also look at them seriously as well because some things do slip through the cracks. Whenever it is industry studied and industry funded, it does slip through the cracks. So this is where as clinicians, we need to be extra on guard because this can really impact our patients. And there are still trends that come out that promise something new, and they're usually very expensive, so they're going to cost our patients something, but they promise new, quick, fast results. They overpromise and oversell something that is going to pull our patients away from something that actually is proven to help, like exercise, solid nutrition, good sleep. So that's, again, not saying everything's bad. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer and saying, well, if industry funded it, I'm not going to take it. Just, it's going to make me take a closer look at that. So marketing stretches the science a little bit. I'd mentioned this already. You have so many great before and afters. You have so many promises for this new product, this expensive machine. And a lot of times we're oversold promises versus getting something that actually fixes a problem. At the end of the day, the marketers, they're trying to make money. So they're going to take something, put a beautiful spin on it, when in reality, it's not fixing the underlying root of the problem. And I have a feeling if you're here listening to this video, you're a person that wants to chase the root cause of a problem. So that's what we need to focus on educating our patients on. This may be a cool new trendy thing that gets rid of bloating, that supplements something in your diet, that tones your skin, that helps get rid of cellulite. But could balanced hormones do that through a healthier diet, through better recovery, through sleep, through exercise? Are there things that you could focus on that are better for you in the long run versus spending money on the next new cool trendy oil that you put in your hair, brush that you use on your face, cup that you suck on your skin? Are there lifestyle things that you can do that replace these new trendy things? This is an eye that I like to look through whenever I'm looking through social media and I'm marketed something and I see this fresh, new, cool thing. And I'm like, well, I could also just drink enough water, make sure that I stay well hydrated. That's going to impact my skin more than this brush would. I'm going to use an example, collagen. So popular, and I just wanted to use this as one example, not to attack collagen because collagen has so many great benefits. I absolutely love anything with amino acids, protein, but collagen is very heavily marketed, especially to females, but to anyone in the market. So let's take collagen as an example. Collagen is a great health tool that we can use. However, it is marketed for a direct one-to-one. If you take this, you will have better skin. If you take this, you will have thicker hair. If you put this on your skin, it will be better. If you put this in your hair, it will be better. If you do this, this will happen. But we don't understand the full mechanism of what collagen is and how the amino acids are broken down and then how they work. And that's something that our patients don't know to ask. They just think, I need to put collagen in this every day because it's going to directly affect this. But instead of eating a more balanced, nutritious diet, they're doing coffee, collagen, and butter when they could be getting better, if not as good as, if not better benefits just by eating a more balanced diet of eggs or chicken throughout the day. Because collagen is still a protein source. It still has amino acids, but it's incomplete. So while it does support and protect our joints, it's not going to be something that rebuilds our joints. And that's what's being marketed a lot of times. If you take this supplement, it will rebuild your joints. Collagen does not go directly into your joint. It still has to be broken down. It still has to be digested. So we're taking these products that are oftentimes contaminated, because you can find them at TJ Maxx, you can find them at Ross. I see it on friends and family shelves all the time. We're taking these products that, yes, do have something beneficial in them, like collagen, but it has all these added fillers and everything else that we just spent $20, $30, $40 to $70 on for a bottle, and we literally could just eat a few eggs and get the exact same benefits. So that's the point when it comes to these trends, is doesn't necessarily mean something is bad, that this trend needs to just be completely washed. We just need to look at it through an eye of, but what is it really doing? And is it being over marketed? Because a lot of times it is. And what can I do foundation wise to replace this thing to where I wouldn't even need to spend the $50 on this product? I can get just the same benefits by doing what I was already going to do anyways. There are some trends that are not just a hype. Like right now, creatine in the athletic world is what everybody talks about. Creatine is very well studied, and it's not what it was back in the early 2000s and 90s. We figured out how to make sure that it can be pure from, if you know where it's being sourced from, pure, and it has great benefits on strength, on power, on lean mass, and now more and more research coming out on the cognitive benefits, especially if someone's suffered from some kind of concussion or PTSD. Sauna, also another example. I see saunas being pushed all the time. Get your sauna for inside of your house. We know that heat helps support our detox system. And there is a promising support for cardiovascular health, nervous system relaxation, and recovery from a traditional sauna. And it's also something that's been used for centuries in so many different cultures. Another thing, fermented foods, sourdough, really big right now. It can be both beneficial, it's a trend. The enzymes within sourdough can support a healthy gut, same with kefir, but it can also impact blood sugar levels. So context there. Fermented foods, great for gut health, great for health, but can be overdone and needs to be looked at through a more objective lens. Cold exposure, that's another thing. It's all dependent on your timing and goals. There's not a lot of research on cold exposure, on cold plunges for pregnant women. There's not a lot of research on cold plunges for someone with poor recovery already or other health issues, or someone who's trying to gain muscle mass, because we know that through cold exposure, it actually can shut off the pathways that increase muscle mass. So you have to take into context the timing, you have to take into context the goals that you have in mind. So when a patient says, I've been cold plunging, but I don't get a benefit from it, ask them, well, what are your goals? What are the benefits you're trying to get? What is the timing in which that you're cold plunging? Because I see people just, I just do it first thing in the morning, but then I also work out immediately after. I work out immediately before and then I cold plunge, well, that's going to impact the results that you get. Another thing that I've talked about heavily on is fasting. Fasting is very popular. I have done an entire video on this before because fasting is really only beneficial if you're not chronically stressed. Because if you have more of a high stress job, if you have poor recovery, if you're training a lot, if you are not eating enough calories whenever you're not fasting, then it's actually going to push you more towards sickness than it is towards health. But it does have the benefits of helping with insulin sensitivity, metabolic flexibility, hormone support, but only if it's used in the context. The goal here isn't to just dismiss a trend. It's to really hit home the fact that trends are being heavily marketed and we need to take in context each thing, person to person, individual, and look at the whole physiological picture. As clinicians, we need to be able to weed through what's just trendy, what is really good marketing, and what actually has physiological benefits. What could be hitting the market that has new emerging research that could actually help our patients move the health needle. Trends come and go. Physiology doesn't. So really, it's the test of time to find some of these trends that are worth it or not. In upcoming videos about this topic, we're going to dive more specifically into some of the health trends that are out there and find, what does the research really say? Is this really beneficial? And is it going to support those fundamentals that we're trying to instill in our patients? I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope this helps set the foundation of what we're going to talk about next. Have a great rest of your day.